So Jeffrey Saunders, so excited to have you here today, my friend. How are things?
You look so little back there.
Hey.
How are you?
She said you look tiny back there.
You look so
and for people who don't know me, I'm 6'6". So
well,
it's funny.
I saw you went on your website, and I'm like, the dude looked a lot taller on his website.
Well, you know the funny thing, right before this started, it always happens to me that my computer froze. I had a setup of my green screen, my microphone, everything was ready to go. 2 minutes before I was supposed to come on, it froze.
Oh, you know what? I feel so much better. It's not just me.
Yeah, but I always have a backup plan now for when things happen. Nothing's going to stop me from sharing my story and sharing my message. So I have my cell phone ready to go and my headset. So here I am.
I love it.
Perfect. Nice to meet you.
You know what? You heard me say this many times, I think, already, Jeffrey. I say this often, but it's not about where you start. It's what you do next. So in your case, what you did next is find a new way to be on here. And thank you for doing that.
Well, we learn from our experiences, right?
Absolutely.
And we prepare ourselves.
Actually, yes. It's experiences teach.
Yep, 100%. So
thank
you for having me on, and I'm very grateful and humbled to be a part of book number 5, and now going into book number 7. I'm super thrilled and excited to share my story. So thank you for allowing me to be in a part of your world with the amazing things you guys are doing. I'm so appreciative. So I hope you feel that coming from me right now. And yeah, looking forward to today.
Amazing. Well, and I will.
You're like a humble giant.
I am today. I wasn't years ago, but I am today. Yeah.
Well, tell us.
All we have is right now.
Yeah. Well, let's dive in there, Jeffrey. And I will say, when he mentioned book number 7, that one's pretty much full, but that's the one we're doing with a co-author with Randy Spelling. So Tori Spelling's brother, who was in 90210 and Malibu Shores. So it's going to be an exciting version of the Blue Talks book. We're finally taking that direction, bringing somebody on.
That's amazing. I remember when you were doing the first, and I'm still not in any of them. You know, I'm busy having experiences.
You still have a
down
spot
and writing my story. I don't know. I'm like, when am I going to do that?
You still have a spot when you're ready. But having said that, Jeffrey, let's focus on maybe a little bit about who you are now. I'm sure we'll dive back in. You said it wasn't always this way. I'm sure we'll circle back to that. But what does Jeffrey look like today?
What is a medical medium or something?
Healing medium, and I'll share briefly on who I am and my business name, because the business name of who I am is who I am within this physical form. I am a Canadian, and I am a healing medium. So the reason I don't like using, no judgment to it, but I just don't really labeling myself today for the space that I'm living in. But a healing medium, the reason why I use that term, and when I first took it on, I was unsure if I wanted to use even the word medium, because I know a lot of people have their perceptions from how they've been conditioned in this life to deem it as wrong. And my passion in life is to free all people from their past suffering so that they can live through their higher self, being freed of holding on to the shame and guilt and from the experiences they've lived through. So I went to a spiritualist church for about 1 year. And they taught about, just different ways of connecting and whatnot. And they used the term healing medium, and that for them was a higher form of mediumship, to best put it. And what a healing medium actually is a medium who is gifted to work with and be of a higher frequency of light energy. So in my life today, I work with all higher light beings of energy, so different forms of councils on the other side. And it was actually through a death experience back almost 4 years ago now, where I came back. I went through a very beautiful experience to understand who I am in this physical form. And then I did the work since to align to live through the form that I am living. So it is actually even now the being of light within that is speaking to you. I don't live in the consciousness of my human mind anymore. And what I do is I free souls from suffering in physical and non-physical form. So through all my experiences from the past of suffering, of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, all stemming to emotional abuse, all the suicide attempts, all the addictions that I went through in life, to bring me to have the knowledge of being freed from everything that I used to carrying all this knowledge through the experiences of this realm and where we come from since 3 years ago of deep diving into my connection, to bring all this knowledge to where I am in this point today on connecting with people through video call sessions. And I've been connecting with people globally, now growing globally, healing people who are suffering that reach out to me in my 3-hour session. healing the different vibrations of lower energy that causes us to actually suffer, that causes mental health illnesses. I used to be diagnosed with PTSD, bipolar, severe depression, severe anxiety, severe ADHD. I have nothing anymore. And it all comes to healing stored energy through personal experiences that we have lived through. It forms this into our physical being. And when we heal the energy within that's attached to the light being within us, it then frees the secondary component, being our physical body, from the suffering that it's going through. So that is a rundown of where I'm at today in this moment today.
Going on your website and I'm setting up an appointment.
Well, there is, I do, it's beautiful because when I connected with Corey, when we did this beautiful workshop, it was so powerful. It was the first experience I had connecting with 200 people that were all together in this boot camp because I am going to be speaking on stage. I am destined to be doing this, and I'm now learning from Corey, which I'm so grateful for. I'm so excited to learn from you, Corey, to be on stage and speaking. And, that's, I'm in these stages of growth now, and I have these beautiful Rosalind, if she's on, she's going to be coaching me. And then I have Corey setting up, and then I have Kelly, right, helping me with my book to bring on stage. And that's the space that I'm in right now, right? But there is a free call with me first, because I need to make sure we align. I have to make sure that the person is ready to be vulnerable. If they are not vulnerable, my session is not going to work, because they're going to hold on to things that they feel too much shame for, and they will not be freed from it. So my energy is valuable. You cannot, and when we reach the space of knowing who we are and how valuable we are, my time is more valuable than any dollar a person can give me. They have to be ready to want to do the work with me, because I had to do all the experiences that I put them through. So I know how it feels, right?
I know, isn't that the crux of it?
Yeah, so that's where I'm at today.
You know what? One thing I'll add, Elise, because you wouldn't know the backstory to this, but and I know I can say this, Jeffrey, because we talked about it in the group, like at the boot camp, which was 100 and some people on at the time. Yes. You said it.
I'll explain why I didn't make it, but thank you for the invite. But anyway,
go ahead. Absolutely. I was going to say one of the things Jeffrey asked us about, and this goes back to what you said, and I think Elise will appreciate this, and then I want to dive deeper. But one thing that Jeffrey just said there, Elise, is that you can't basically pay him simply to take you on. And one of the things he asked about is, he said, I don't charge a fee for the consultation to decide if you're the right client for me. Should I start? Because everybody's telling me I should be charging for that time. And I told him, if it's a consultation, my opinion is the way he's doing it is actually better, in my opinion. Again, no better or worse, but I like the approach he's taken, because he's basically telling himself, you can't just pay to work with me. Like, if you're the wrong fit, I'm not just going to bring you on to charge you money for the sake of charging you money. I actually like the fact that he's kind of to himself and the person saying, look, I want to make sure we're a good fit, because we're putting a lot of time in together. Yeah. And so what he just said, I want to say he's backing that up, in my opinion. And I think that's really actually good branding, even if it's not intentional branding.
Yeah. Wait, what part of what he said?
So, and I know it's out of context because you weren't there, but he said that whenever he brings on clients, he'll actually book a consultation to make sure they're a good fit. He doesn't charge for that consultation. And so he basically, for the consultation, decide if you're a good fit to work with him. So let's say, in my case, let's say we're going to jump on a call for you to be in my speaking program. And I said, okay, we need to jump on a 15-minute call to make sure you're a good fit and I'm a good fit for you. Well, he's saying,
yeah, for sure.
He doesn't charge for that, but people are trying to tell him he should even charge for that. But I actually like that he doesn't.
I agree.
Not because he's giving his time away, because he's telling you, you can't just work with me simply because you have money.
Yeah, and we can go a step deeper, actually, than that with what I do. That actually helps, because I had to learn through doing all this myself, right, of these experiences, is that, okay, now they're ready to book. They'll book the date and time, right, and then they can pay me before. Well, here's the problem. Sometimes they don't show up. Now they're putting a lot of stress on me in my life. That it was coming into my space. And then I had to learn, well, if you want to book your time with me now, after that, you need to pay me first in full. There are no refunds. And what happens is, I know this person is 110% ready, because now they're paying, they're investing in themselves. They know they committed, because, like I said, I put in 210% of my energy with the person that is there. And if they're not putting in that same amount of energy to come back to me, to allow us to do with what I'm able to do to guide you to freedom, it's not worth it, because now you're draining my energy, right? Because the energy of coming back to freedom that I get after they're feeling freed and they're not suffering no more, That is the greatest gift that any of us, when we're working with people to heal them in whatever ways that we're designed to, it's that feeling of knowing that they've made a massive change in their life. And that feeling that comes back is a powerful feeling, right? And that's why most of us do it when we live the fulfillment of our purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm always like, it's really all about me, because if I can help people be freer, right, and live their best life and create these amazing, inspired realities, I get to live in that world, at least for now.
Yes.
You know, living in a happier world. I mean, come on, what could be
I
better?
love it. And it's funny. Yeah, no, go ahead, Corey. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is another thing too. A lot of times people will say, you know, whether it's giving, like, I'll explain this, but then I want to preface it because I don't want people to take it wrong. But it's like when we give to others without expecting to receive, whether it's giving of money or time or what have you, it always comes back. Like Jack Canfield, I love this. He shared this. Well, first of all, Jack Canfield said that when he sold Chicken Soup for the Soul, which a lot of people don't know he did years ago, but he said that everything him and Mark Victor Hansen did, they always tithed, they always gave money away, a certain percentage. So when they sold Chicken Soup, it was the biggest check he ever wrote to charity in his life. And he said it was a hard check to write. And I was like, oh my God, this time I'm not sure. And he said he wrote the check, and like a week later he got a contract that was worth more than the check. He said, I tried. I can't outgive it. I can't. And then we had Dr. Greg Reed on, who wrote 3 Feet from Gold. And he said one of his friends talks about it like a fan. Every time I throw money, it's like a fan. It blows back at me. And what I'm getting at is that and I don't like this approach, but even if you were selfish, it still makes sense to give back and to give to people, because it comes back to you. And not even from a money perspective, even your feeling, the receiving you're getting from that. Like you said about, if you change somebody's life, you're still getting that good too. It's not just them. Yeah. So I don't get it. Like, I don't get why people, I don't have time to give to others. I don't have time to do this. Well, but then you're not giving to yourself either. That's just,
there's so many ways to give. You know, we think giving is like financial. So for us here, we have this little retreat here right on the water, and we have everybody loves it here. Anyway, we create experiences for people to have. So when you go back and you're living in a shitstorm, you can think of the moment and come back in that vibration that you had when you were here, right? It's like the gift that keeps on giving. But we've created this stay and play all day. So you know how you stay at a place and you have to check out normally at 10 or 11, and you're like, oh, you're not ready to go yet? If you get out of the suite by 11, you can stay here and play all day on us. You can take the kayaks, the canoes, you can use all the amenities and stay and play all day. Bless you. So that's giving back. You know, we're not necessarily giving money, but everyone who stays, we're giving our time, we're giving our space, we're allowing them to be in this place for longer. So I just think it's important for people to think about, even if you don't have a lot of money to give, or even your own physical time, if you have space, if you can give in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 things I want to say. The first thing is I want you to hold time for me for at least 3 minutes, because I'm going to give information to free people to become present with me, so I can free them through words of wisdom, so that they can be freed through the past, because this is a big part of why I'm here, especially when I'm on stage, to give this information so that you actually leave from this podcast feeling lighter, looking in the mirror, feeling more love for yourself, right? It's just from hearing the words of wisdom that I've gained to do. So hold that space for me at the end of it, not forgetting, it's very important. But I actually seen someone write a post about positive toxicity or whatnot. And it really aligned to me in a way of sharing on this, actually. And it's coming back to me on reading that. And, you know, I understand from a point, when people are in a space and there's never any judgment, everyone is always in a space. There is no time. When I see people, I do not see them as age. I see them as souls living in a space for however long of time that they're in. Their body just grows of the physical form, but they're still the same within of work that needs to be done on why they're here. And one of the things is, you know, when you do the work to raise yourself up, because I used to play the role of a victim, being angry and hating everyone and all this stuff. When you spend the time of healing the experiences of the past on however that works for you, you end up rising up a vibration to match the frequency of which you are within your physical form. You feel more love, joy, and happiness when you start doing the work to reach back up to those heights. Now, as you learn through all those experiences, you have gained tools and knowledge to know more along your path through all the experiences after doing the work, because you evolve. Now I'm in this space where I love to be happy. I do not want to feel the contrast of feeling the lower energies of hate, shame, guilt, right? Anger. I don't want to feel that. So now that I've risen back up, I've gained tools and knowledge that when I have situations come into my life, I do not come at it in a hateful way. I do not have the attachments that cause me to feel those in the triggering way that come up in my life. So now, because I live in this high space of the truth of who we are within our physical form at the purest state of who we are, of positive energy, the difference is now the challenges and situations that I have into my life, I look at differently, right? I accept things for what they are. I know I'm learning and growing, because as soon as you reach that top of the peak of the mountain that you're living in, of the challenges that you're going through, guess what? There's another mountain. There's another mountain. There's going to be more mountains. When you get to the top, guess what? There's more challenges, more situations. But how we handle it is much different, right? We have the knowledge to know how to look at it and how to approach it in a higher way, right? We're not, so when people say positive toxicity, the thing is with that is when a person, I believe, is always trying to be happy, faking it until they make it, not addressing the things that are happening that cause them to feel lower energies, and they're just faking it to make it, right? That there's a difference between the two when people, because sometimes I get told, oh, he has this positive toxicity or whatever, right? But they haven't done the work yet to align them to the truth of who they are, to know more than they know. So I just wanted to touch and share on that, because you mentioned something and it triggered that experience for me to share on.
What's positive toxicity? Maybe I'm not getting it.
It's just, I feel, for me, where people see someone who's happy all the time, right? So they see you being so happy all the time that this person is toxic. There is something wrong with them, right? But the truth,
how could they be so happy?
The truth is they're holding on to experiences of vibration of lower energies from the experiences of the past that they have not healed from. It is that lower energy that still remains in them, that cannot see the higher heights of frequency of love, joy, and happiness, because they haven't done the work yet, right? So it is them. We are a reflection of who we are. Today, I used to be judgmental towards myself. I was judging others, right? Today, I have this pure form of unconditional love for myself. So now I have it for others, right? There's always who we are within reflects and comes out of us, right? And it shows.
Well, I have a question for you and whoever you're connected to. For me personally, do you mind if I ask? Since I have you all here. Yeah. So what if? So I see like we could be split, right? Like there could be a version of us that's totally unconditionally loving to self and therefore unconditionally loving in the world and to those around, right? So for me personally, I see two sides, because I'm not always unconditionally loving to myself, but I can say this with integrity, that I am unconditionally loving in the world, almost to the point where people think I don't care because I don't get involved in the volley of the this and that and the fight of it. I'm just like, listen, unfortunately, when you look at that, it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't necessarily feel good to me either. But like, I just know that everyone's doing the best they can. It's like, so I see things from an unconditionally loving place, but don't always necessarily stand in an unconditionally loving body.
Yes. Well, it's because you have experiences that have not been healed yet, right? There's different, those four bodies of energy. There's energy of lower vibration through different experiences you have lived through. It is triggering. Triggers are amazing. When we have triggers, those are telling us that there is work to be done, right?
It's always internal for me. It's always the internal trigger. I can go in the world and manifest anything like that. But in this, okay, we'll do a consult. You'll see if we resonate. But when I saw your picture today, I'm like, he's my guy. I didn't know you were a gentle humble giant.
Let me ask you guys this: how about this? Is something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Is that I think there needs to be, and I'm sure there's some people that are doing it, but they obviously haven't broken through fully yet, because I'm not seeing it anywhere. But I feel like we're so missing this area of all the stuff we're talking about. Is how powerful it can be for, and I don't mean the mix, like a world, like a cold world, like business, we call it business maybe in a cold way, but I mean in general, like there's so many CEOs and leaders that are influencing so many lives, that imagine if they understood the power of synchronicity. manifestation. Like they really understood this. And right now I find there is still this disconnect where you have one world that understands it fully and one world that doesn't. I'd love to get your guys' thought, even like setting affirmations and intentions and all this stuff. I mean, in my old world, when I used to wear a 3-piece suit all the time, if I would have brought up any of that, people would have hit me in the side of the head.
But how long ago was that, though, Corey? Because I know I work with corporations, and corporate leaders will come to me, like not even the whole group, and I'm able to help them step into their knowledge now and their new knowing of being able to create from a place of intention and their own vibration. They don't even have to do anything. And I get calls, oh my God, the guy that was a problem in the team took early retirement. Like crazy stuff will show up once they get aligned. So my question is, how long ago was that? Because it might have been then, but I think they're incorporating it a little more now.
Well, that you just said the last part you just said is, in my opinion, the most truthful part of that. Not truthful, it's all true. But the last part you said is the most accurate part to me, is they're starting to more now. But there's still, when you look at if there, whatever the number is, if there's 300,000 corporations in the world, I know there's be more than that probably, but there's 300,000 corporations in the world, and it used to be like 10%, it's probably now 30. But I'm saying I think we need to get somebody who can bridge that gap, like a Deepak Chopra or whatever, that can actually reach all CEOs where they go, there's something to this energy thing, there's something to this, and so on and so forth. Like it's what I was thinking, like even smudging.
Wait, I think he has something to say. I'm feeling.
Yeah, I was just
going
to finish by saying, like, going into like even smudge the office before, or Shelly and I, you've heard this at least, do MEPs where we do an inventory with each other, having 2 coworkers do inventory with each other. Like, I'm just saying, how great would it be if we had somebody that could bridge the gap there? So anyway, feel free to jump in on that.
This is very beautiful that you bring this up, because it's very important, of great knowledge that people need to understand, is that we have been evolving to a new earth that is happening throughout time. You're talking about 2 different spaces. It is because we are growing into that new earth of understandings that we didn't have before. The reason why we didn't have it before is because humanity hasn't been evolved to that space yet. We are evolving to that space. It is happening percentage-wise, as you put it. But when we look back at humanity and the generations before us, it has carried and passed on past traumas, because behind closed doors, they do not say anything. But more importantly, they never had the opportunity to heal, and passing on what's been passing on. We have this beautiful thing that we call internet, the source of us all connecting through phone to phone, right, in this dimension that we're living. So we're able to grow at a much faster rate through Wi-Fi, frequency of energy, us connecting right now from phone to phone, or me on a phone. How is it that instantly my voice and my audio can go through thin air and connect to you, right? You have to think we're evolving to frequencies and energy. We will eventually understand our inner body of energy and how we have to heal. And a part of us, with people like myself who are scattered throughout the earth, who are teaching on sharing through their higher self and in their own beautiful ways. We go back to women not having rights. They never had any rights, never had a voice. Then they went through, I think it was, I'm not good at schooling stuff here and remembering schooling stuff, but through the war, I believe it was, they overcame and then able to work, able to have rights, able to vote. Slavery, even back in the day, not being equal. They're equal, even though there's still much work that is needing to be done to grow from ignorance that this world is holding on to. Then we have being bullied at work, watching what you say, watching social media. The sensitivity that keeps happening is separating us away from ignorance. And now there is more allowance of the higher energies of us connecting with one another through a truth of healing in some way or form, right? And we're able to rise up as we all share our stories. All of our stories matter. My story matters. Your story matters. The person who's listening and watching, your story matters. When we're able to share our stories, it is now breaking away from the past generations, and it is shifting us into the new earth that we are growing into.
I love it. Well, and I agree with that. All like at least you brought it up. Isn't it starting to change? And yes, to your point, both of your points, I believe it's changing. And some people would say, well, it's not happening quick enough, or it's too small. But if you think if it was 10% before and it's 30 now in a matter of 10 years, that's quick. Because it's like, what was the percentage? I hate to say it, but like the numbers was like a female CEOs. I forget the number I've heard recently, but it was like 1% 20 years ago. And now it's 7%. People are like, well, that's ridiculous. How's it only 7%? But 1% to 7% in 15 to 20 years is massive. Like
Yes.
that's huge. So it is
Yeah.
going in that direction. I'm saying, wouldn't it be great if we had a way to kind of nudge it a bit? But I know the universe always
So you're
knows.
looking for something
Divine
to bring.
timing.
I'm kind of looking for a person. Like, so for example,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. It makes me think, and it's right over there. But James Redfield, I talk with James a lot, wrote the Celestine Prophecy. And there's more people I talk to when I bring up Celestine that say that was my introduction to what spirituality was and showed me I wasn't crazy than any other book I hear that about. So my thinking is, imagine if we could find somebody that's very practical, but could reach these CEOs that don't believe in energy and yoga and meditation and all these things. Imagine if we could find somebody who could speak that language. I'll give you an example. There's a yoga guy named Diamond Dallas Page, and he was a wrestler before that, tattoos on both arms. And I went to New York. I went to one of his yoga sessions. It was like 85 dudes that were like truckers with big tattoos doing yoga. I've never seen in my life. But he was the bridge. He was the person where they went, and his yoga was called Yoga for Regular Guys. So he was like a regular guy that people could go, I would never do this before, but if Diamond Dallas Page will do it, I'll give it a show. I'll give it a chance. And so I'm just saying, how cool would it be if we could find not one, but people that start bridging that.
How about we just intend it and let whoever they are show up? Because I believe that we are the they that you're speaking of, and it may not just be one.
I align to that.
Like you're like bLU Talks right now. I mean, you're growing this incredible platform and it's expanding. And I mean, we have executive retreats booking here on the Weeki Wachee River at this island vibe chill place and booking me to speak to talk about how to flip your script. I mean, basically, I'm taking spiritual secret knowledge and making it simple with a flip your script band in 3 steps using EFT, but it's big metaphysical stuff. And I never even use the word. Nobody will ever know what I'm really talking about until they get there and then they start seeing it show up. So it's happening.
That's what I'm getting at right there. You said the key thing is, and so I'll finish with this side. And Jeffrey, I want to let you jump in on this again. But at least the key thing you just said is I don't use the word. So I guess what I'm driving at is, like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like I was a person that got pulled in to the spiritual world. Like all this stuff when I was 20, I was said, that's witchcraft. I didn't know what to say. I didn't understand it at all. And then I read Deepak Chopra's books and I got kind of pushed away early on, or Eckhart Tolle, because he's talking about quantum physics and all. And as me, as the regular guy, that means nothing to me. So when people start saying, Corey, we're working on quantum levels and there's energy, and like Jeffrey, now I went to see Deepak recently and he talked about how, and this to me is the practical side. He said, our energy is always moving. So he said, for instance, this suitcase that's sitting here with me now is a different suitcase that was here 2 years ago, even though it's the same physical suitcase, because he was talking about how the energy changed. Well, that part I could understand a bit more because he's talking about something physical and showing to me. But if he said our energy particles, and I get all this now, I'm saying years ago I wouldn't. Where if you said like we're all just energy, I'd be like, no, we're not. What are you even talking about? And so my point is, we need to reach those people that are still saying, no, we're not. That's garbage. That's hogwash.
Well, first of all, we don't need to do anything.
No, okay. but I'd love it. Okay,
Fired too.
This is my thing, pushing it on other people. I would love to see us reach a point where a CEO who said, like I did 20 years ago, this doesn't make any sense in the world, now is actually taking this into their company with 1,000 employees and going, maybe there's a different way. Anyway, sorry.
Well,
go ahead.
I don't want to take up his time because we could have a talk about it, because who cares what it's called? Doesn't matter what it's called.
No, but that's my point, is that I think we just got to use language that people understand. But anyway, go ahead, Jeffrey. Let Jeffrey
simple. Just being simple, right? Yeah, just being simple. So the one thing, there's a few things that align to me when you were speaking there through experiences that I've gone through to understand, is there is so much more to understand than just being simple and having things flipped for people, because speaking on spiritual awakenings is what I align to with what you're saying, to awaken someone to more truth, to free them. But here's the thing, is that I've been through so many experiences. I spend 4 or 5 hours a day for 3 years now with working with them through different dimensions, that I can, through my death experience, I can actually see energy through different dimensions when I shift through different frequencies now. This is how I connect with them, is because I can see energy moving around me now with my eyes open. So I went through one experience. I'll share one of these experiences, gave me more knowledge to what I have now, is that when we pass, we go before the pureness of what everything is, of that light energy. I went through that experience. This is where we judge ourselves when our soul goes to pass, to feel if we are worthy or not. And I've done all the work of my past But during that time, when I went through that experience, I went through an injury through a car accident. And the only thing, I was in bed for 2 months. The only thing that helped me at that time was weed edibles. The pain was being taken away. When I went through that experience, and I went through that experience being in that pureness of light energy of who we all are, I had tears come to my eyes, feeling not worthy or good enough, because I'm like, here I am doing this work, wanting to be who I'm destined to grow into, and I'm doing this. And I felt so much shame for doing that. And then the energy came over me just saying, you're doing the best you can. You only know what you know in this moment, right? It's not your fault. You're thriving and you're doing that. So then I felt this release in a way of feeling freed from that. So going through that experience was meant for me to go through that, because a lot of the work that I've done, I've spent hundreds of hours in the different vibrations of what we call hell. And I've been learning and I've been healing all those beings, going through all those experiences, because the truth is we are all the same. We're just in a physical form. The aliveness of who you are, of that light energy that will shift through frequencies of energy, it's still in you, right? So we need to be present in the moment. So when you're sharing, just wishing that everyone could be in that space and time, understand that all those people that you wish for, they hold on to shame and guilt through experiences of what were done to them and what they've done to others. You cannot just snap your finger and have that done, right? They need to go through. Their soul has come here to learn, grow, and evolve. We are always learning, growing, and evolving on this side and the other side. So to take away that freedom from them on why they actually came here to live, and to free them instantly, there's just, my point to it is, there is so much more to understand than just desiring, because we want people to be freed, right? That's what we all want when we're at the space, right? But coming back to it, is there is so much more to understand than it just being that easy, right? Divine timing, everything is always happening perfect, always, right? And it's coming back to that truth, and then it frees us from our mind of thoughts that create stories and gives us fear. We come back to everything is happening perfectly, right? We're learning, growing, and evolving, and we will get to that space. But unfortunately, like I said, time doesn't exist. It is just a space that we continue to evolve to higher spaces, and everything is happening perfectly.
I'm gonna have to.
Corey, now you could free yourself from having all that like need to change everyone. See, you just start by freeing yourself first.
I agree with that totally, and I have to just clarify one thing. Whenever I'm even talking about this, it's not that I want people to be an instant like now we're aware or awake. What my thing is, I wish I'm trying to use words that, it's like, I think it would be cool if there was somebody that was that person. And maybe I'm saying I want to be that person. I don't know. But somebody.
Maybe you are. There you go.
But somebody like, okay, so I want to say it out loud, but I don't, because I'm scared somebody will steal the name, just the name. I can't put a name for exactly what I'm trying to say. But
so maybe you want to be that person.
But what I'm getting at is not, and I want to clarify, if you look at Deepak Chopra, even though he's putting his awareness out there, he believes in that, it's not like people go like this and change because he put it out there. But he's also bringing in a few people in as he comes. So I'm more talking about, and he's easing them in, let's say. So I'm more talking about, how do we ease people into it so that they maybe don't, and maybe that's part of the plan too, Jeffrey, is that somebody needs to ease them in with the basic side of it to eventually get them to the point where they are open to it. Now, I can't say that the world, I think if the universe doesn't want that, it won't make that person come to, that person won't end up coming to life or becoming known well enough to make that happen. But for me, it's just more like I was introduced to it in a way that I really wish that there would have been an ease in for me. I wish I would have had somebody kind of ease me in versus just the approach I took. I believe we all, like, I would never go into a time machine and change anything that happened, and I wouldn't change the way it happened for me. But I'm just saying that it's like the yoga thing, right? Like, I wish that, like, I know people said, oh my gosh, this back pain's killing me, and et cetera, et cetera. And this thing, we talk about yoga and they're like, I'd never do that. No men do yoga. Big men don't do yoga. But then they see Diamond Dallas Page and go, okay, maybe it's okay. I give this thing a try. So maybe he was the conduit. So I'm just saying, how cool would it be if there was a conduit that helped business people understand energy? But I'm not saying
it's just, you know what?
It should happen or it will happen.
It's just being you. You will give a ripple effect. You're already doing it, right? Same as me and you, Aliza, right? Is that your name?
Yeah.
Elise, sorry. It is just being who you are with your light. And what actually happens is other beings are, here's the thing. Feelings have nothing to do with the human form, nothing. Our inner being of light's consciousness, there's a shifting of different consciousness, the human mind's consciousness that people live in all the time, and then there is your inner being of light's consciousness. I went through the experience of the separation when I died and went through that experience. Our soul always feels. It is always feeling the energy within and the energy around us. Always. It is always aware and observing. Always. Right? So when you are being who you are, because I have been in the space to now be drawn to you, we're energetically connecting because I wish to go in this higher way, in this different way. Our souls now have aligned, right? So the more you be the light of who you are within, of what you are feeling the pureness of your passion, other souls will end up being drawn to you energetically. You are giving a ripple effect, because after I'm done with your course and you help me on my path, I am now able to share that knowledge with other people. And when they are ready in that space, they need to be in alignment with you. They need to desire what it is you are offering. And when they want what you are offering, they will be drawn to you. They will change and evolve. Then others will ripple into that effect, right? Is what aligns me with what you were sharing.
Yeah, maybe I've come into an awareness that, because I was thinking of it when I first brought it up, more of externally, like somebody else, not me. Like but maybe
why not you? Why not you?
Right, well, there you go. But maybe that's what I was driving at. Maybe it's what maybe that's a change I would love to see impacted to some degree. But who knows? But I mean, it's interesting because I never thought of it that way. I just thought I wish there was a conduit, and I came into it all as a skeptic. And, somebody I'm working with said, I love the fact that you're a skeptic because you bring up questions that other people are wondering about. And whereas like this person says, I'm all in for spirituality, he said, so I'm not a skeptic. And he said, so I don't realize there's people saying, but I don't get this. I don't understand this. And I'm just over their head. He said, I love that you're a skeptic because then you're asking those questions, but they're like, I wish somebody would ask this. Oh, wait. Oh, he asked it because I'm a skeptic. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
totally. But we need to give him 3 minutes. And
I know. Absolutely. So, and I did, by the way, Jeffrey, Elise knows this because she's been with me before. Sorry for taking us down that path. The whole approach I have to this is a coffee style conversation that we go wherever we go. And I don't know. I felt that you were the person to go there with that. So hopefully that was cool.
No, totally. I'm going to answer for Jeffrey. Totally cool, Corey. Totally cool.
Yeah. Hey, it's all about sharing our ideas through our experiences and just being open to listening to another, because I'll tell you, if I was not open to hearing from another, I feel like everything's starting to fall here. If I was not open to hearing and learning from other people, it is why I am where I'm at today. It's from hearing others' perspectives. You only know what you know only through personal experiences that you have lived through. You don't know anything else. The rest that you think, create stories from the knowledge of that you have learned. You make up stories and create thoughts, right? You make beliefs. A lot of times we learn they're false beliefs because we go through more what we used to think, is not what we thought, right? So it is definitely so important to share our ideas with one another, to listen to one another, to not judge one another, right? And then see what forms from us sharing and connecting. And then we can make beautiful things together, because it needs to be done in unity, right? I would not be who I am today if it wasn't done in unity, learning from others. Now I have this beautiful 3-hour session put together, changing lives globally, because it's all the experiences I've had with other people, right? We're all valuable with what we've learned. And when we share it with one another, we become even more powerful, right?
Amazing.
Absolutely.
So we told you, as Elise said, we promised we'd give you 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm like ready.
Yeah. So here's the beautiful thing. Again, through my experience, the aliveness, what actually happened, I don't want to get past what I said, but when I went through that death experience, I have 12 past suicides. They all pretty much stopped when I was 33 because I was on medications for a long time, even though they threw me off here and there. But when I took my life and I OD'd through the intent of going through it, here's what happened. There was the aliveness of suffering in my human mind, of all the suffering, of deep suffering I was going through. Then when I stopped breathing, there is a shift that happened. I could then feel my inner body of light energy moving around. I realized my body's not breathing now, but I'm still like talking with myself, right? And going through that, it gave me this deep understanding that even now all I feel is energy. I've grown to this space to all I feel is energy within. I can actually move my inner body around all the time and like while I'm moving and all this stuff. But that's how I gained this information that I want to like also share with you now, to bring you to a space of presence. Because when people work with me, I'm working with your soul's consciousness, not your human mind, not your subconscious, your soul's consciousness. And it is always in the present moment without any thought. You are just observing, being aware, feeling the alignment to what things are, and just observing it. So when I go to speak and I'm speaking to each person now, I want you to imagine that it's just you and me speaking one-on-one. Okay, I don't want you to think, there's many other people around and listening. I want you to believe that using our imagination, it is just you and me, and not having any thought, but just observing to what I share, and let it align to your personal experiences that you have lived through without any form of judgment or thought, and just feel that alignment, because when this happens, it actually frees your soul. So let me grab a drink here. This will be about 3 minutes. So just bringing yourself to feeling at peace, taking a nice deep breath in and then breathing out, releasing any energy that you do not want to feel. And just for a moment, just focus on your breath for a moment. Just feel peace and quiet from your human mind of thought. And this is for everyone listening right now. Just take a couple minutes out of your time. Just focus on being present in a moment without any thoughts. Just feeling the air as it enters your body, and then just feeling the air as it leaves your body. Focusing with being aware and observing the feeling. As you're feeling just more at peace and just listening to me. The way that we forgive ourselves from the experiences that we have lived through, to feel that release. It's understanding that the experiences of the past that you lived through, of harm that you've done to yourself or you've done to other people, is because you were conditioned and you were not healed through the experiences of hurt and pain, on however that aligns to you, of the past. No one gave you the opportunity to heal from those experiences, to release those lower energies of what you've felt all throughout your life. The reason why you've passed it on and harmed others is because you did not have the opportunity to heal. If someone gave you the opportunity to heal from those experiences, you would never have harmed yourself or other people, because you would have had the right healing work. You would have been at the pure state of who you are, to always live in that higher state without harming yourself or others. So understand, it's not your fault for those experiences that were passed on to you from past generations. Now, understanding that you don't make those mistakes, you learn from them from the past. Understand that you have learned and grew through that experience, because no one had taught you the tools or knowledge to know how to do things any different. But because you learn through shame and guilt as your teacher, and you don't do those things again, understand that is why you came here, to learn, grow, and evolve. And now you have evolved, and those experiences are not of who you are. They are just experiences to help your soul grow. Now understand, when you understand yourself of why those things happen, understand that those people who harmed you in the past, they're in the same space. They are holding on to experiences you have no clue of what they lived through, of that lower energy of harm, torture, of abuse. It is why they act out and harm others, because they were not given the opportunity to heal. It was not their fault. It is energy that's being passed on, of lower energies, causing people to suffer. So find forgiveness for these people who caused you harm. Do not carry hate for them. It lowers the vibration of who you are. You do not want or desire to feel those energies. So you forgive them, of understanding that they were passed on of hurt and pain, and that passed on hurt and pain is what is causing them to harm others, right? So feel forgiveness now for yourself, for all experiences of this life in the past, and then free yourself from releasing hate and anger you carry towards others, of understanding the truth of why they did that to you. It was never anything personal, okay? So that is one of the main speeches I give to all beings on the other side, to free them. And it is what I do with people in my sessions. It's one of the 9 different forms of healings I put people through, okay? And then you can now breathe in high frequency light energy, and then breathe out, feeling the release of all the past that you've carried, and let that freed from you, and live life more in a higher way of feeling this beautiful energy of who you actually are in your physical form. And that is it.
Wow.
That's amazing that you said about like that people are acting in a place of being stuck, basically.
Yeah.
The choices that they're making. Because I just had this conversation, I think, in with our last guest, that like, I'm not like, the unconditional love is like just letting people be who they are without the judgment. It's so freeing to just say, you know what? I know you're on a journey, and kind of the choice that you made probably wasn't the best choice, for you and those around you.
Yeah.
But like, just hold them in a place of, you got this.
Well, they're not in alignment. Here's the thing. They're not in
out
alignment.
of alignment. And that's,
But we can't come to a place of judgment, because here's what happens. It is the human mind placing judgment. It's understanding that soul has come here knowing it was going to go through these experiences, because that soul is learning perfectly. It has come here to learn perfectly. It is going through wishing we want them to be freed from things, but understand they have to learn and grow the tools on why they come here. It is perfection on where we come from when you're at the perfect, when you're back in full alignment to who you are on the other side. We come here to go through these lower feelings of energy so that we can learn and grow from them. So it is perfection even still when they are going through the space that they're living in. But sometimes I have boundaries of energy of what I allow and don't allow in my life. Those who are still struggling and suffering, unless they're coming to me to be go through the guidance I guide them through, I just remove people from my life. And I'm just like, no, they're in their own space learning and growing, which is perfect, right? And we just remove them, because I don't want anyone lowering how I feel in my life today. I watch how I feel, right?
Yeah, I had a period where I was getting all this fragmented energy. That's what I call it. For me, it feels fragmented when they're on a journey and there's energy spinning around me. And so I was able to just set the intention that everyone who comes into the space that I hold are on the same kind of energetic journey to grow and move through and elevate. And it just changed. I didn't do anything more than just setting that intention within the self and sending that in the space, and it all changed.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? When we see,
it's fun. You can play with it. It's like being playful. It's like, okay, now what do we want to do today? Let's set an intention for the day and see what shows up. Yeah, crazy stuff. So it's kind of like playing with the magic that exists.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's all magic, Corey. Just put it out there. Some dude or chick will show up and be the bridge to whatever it is you want. Just play with it a little.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Jeffrey.
Well, thank you so much for that. It was amazing.
100%. So appreciate.
And then people can find me as well, because I like to do a little, what do they call it? A plug?
Oh, no, we're definitely going to. And you need to put it in the comments, too, even when you're done saying it.
You can Google the Canadian Healing Medium, and I had a beautiful marketer that all my stuff comes up first on Google when you type in the Canadian Healing Medium, or even Healing Medium. And then you can go to my website, and then my services are on the main page. I'm still working on them. We're almost completed to transform them into the desired look, like my transformational page. I have 3 other ones that I'm working on now. But no, my services are there. And you click on the menu, I got 20, 30 different video testimonies of people sharing their transformation or experiences, because I do teach the higher frequency energies. Understand Reiki energy is its own source of energy. There is a vast amount of even higher frequency energies that we can all use, and that's what I use in my life today and teach on. So all the experiences are all the different things. Click on my menu tab, and then you have articles and everything on there. Okay.
It's a great website. I'm on it right now.
Oh, thank you.
Very easy to navigate, very user-friendly, very clear. Any questions you have, it's there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Love it. And well, even though you said they can Google it as well, Jeffrey, I'll try to put it in the comments for people too, just as an extra sort of shortcut. But people will be watching this in the replay as well. So definitely go check out both Jeffrey online by Googling him, thanks to his marketing person, and then also check out his website as well. So, Jeffrey, this has been an absolute pleasure. We, of course, appreciate you. Thank you so much. And then, to be continued is what I would say. You're just starting your journey with us, at least. So thank you so much, my friend.
Tink you.
Really nice meeting you.
It was a pleasure.
We'll be talking.
For sure. Reach out.
I'm always my consult right now.
There you go.
I look forward to it.
I'm telling you, I really am.
You're already getting a client in real time, my friend. Look at that.
Well, I appreciate it. I love working with each person that reaches out to me. I mean,
I intended you.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I'm on the show today. For the whole reason was to connect with you right now in this moment.
Totally. You don't even know. We'll chat on behind the scenes.
Right on. Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening as well.
Amazing, my friend. Thank you. We will chat in the near future, and thanks for being you.